Myself Sahana, presently studying in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, Department of ISC, and today I am going to speak about on the topic of undecidability, a language that is not recursively enumerable. And let's begin the topic. Introduction to undecidability. Undecidability refers to problems for which no algorithm can provide a such solution for all the possible inputs. It plays a crucial role in the theoretical computer science and mathematics, influencing our understanding of the computations. And the concept is foundational to the study of computational limits and the classification of the languages. And Here is the algorithm. From input, it is a set of rules to obtain the expected output from the given input, and it goes to the output. And This is about the introduction to undecidability. And the next, recursively enumerable languages. A recursively enumerable languages is one for which there exists a Turing machine that will accept strings in the language. If a string is not in the language, the Turing machine may either reject it or run indefinitely. Recursively enumerable language are important because they represent problems that can be solved by some algorithm even if not all the inputs can be solved. Recursive enumerable is an important language because that represents the problem and can be solved by some of the algorithm, even not of all the inputs, but they can be answered to the languages of enumerable. And next, characteristics of recursively enumerable languages. Recursively enumerable languages can be enumerated by a Turing machine, meaning their members can be listed out over time, and they are closely associated with the notation of semi-decidability, where language is semi-decidable of a Turing machine can perform membership. Turing machine can perform the membership in the closely associated notations of semi-decidability. And However, it is a non-membership cannot be okay. If the membership, it can be associated to the regular enumerable languages. If it is not membership cannot be performed in regular enumerable languages. And you can see the diagram of the characteristics how it is recursively enumerable language. And next, definition of non-recursively enumerable languages. A non-recursively enumerable language is one for which no Turing machine can enumerate its strings. Such languages can be decided by any algorithm, implying that they are behind the reach of the computation. These properties makes them a critical area of study in the field of computability theory. This is about the definition how the non-recursively enumerable language will works on the Turing machine and cannot be decided by the algorithm. And next, examples of non-recursively enumerable languages. The set of all Turing machine that do not halt on their input is an example of a non-recursive enumerable language. The language of all pairs m comma w such that m is an Turing machine and that rejects w is also a non-recursive enumerable language. And This example illustrates the limitations of what can be computed and the boundaries of algorithmic solvability. And you can see the generalize the class of CFLS, that is Turing machine, that is non-recursive enumerable language, recursive enumerable language, and context free languages and regular languages. This is how the examples of non-recursive enumerable languages will provide. And next, proof of undecidability, and the first is recursive enumerable and context sensitive, and the third is context free and it is the regular. Then you can see the schematic diagram. And to prove a language is not recursively enumerable, one often uses diagonalization or reduction techniques. These methods illustrates that assuming such a Turing machine exists leads to contradictions, and this proves strategy is critical in establishing other undecidable problems. To prove the language of undecidable, it uses a diagonalization method of various techniques. and this method illustrates by using the Turing machine, and this proves the strategy of proof of undecidability of recursively enumerable and context sensitive, and it is a regular. And next, the halting problem. The halting problem is a classic example of an undecidable problem. It states that there is no algorithm that can determine whether a given Turing machine halts on a specific input. The undecidability of the halting problem sets the stage for understanding language that are not recursively enumerable. And you can see the halting problem is an undecidable proof. Consider the computation of D with with input recursively into D. The input to D is the representation in any arbitrary Turing machine. And by examining the preceding computation, we see that D halt input recursively into D if D does not halt on input recursively into D, which is contradiction, and therefore the original assumption is wrong, and therefore the halting problem itself, it is a undecidable proof. And you can see the problem how it is undecidable proof to the halting problem. And next, relationship between undecidability and non-regular languages. All non-recursively enumerable languages are undecidable, but not all undecidable languages are not recursively enumerable. The first is all non-recursive enumerable languages are undecidable, but all the non-undecidable languages are not the recursive enumerable. And some of the undecidable languages can be recursively enumerable, which creates big this means that it creates a complex landscape in computability of the some undecidability non-recursive languages. And understanding this relationship helps to clarify the boundaries of algorithmic solution. It solves the algorithm and the boundaries, how to clear the relationship, understanding the non-recursively enumerable languages. And you can see the first is recursive language and recursive enumerable language, and non-recursive enumerable languages but not recursive, to clarify all the boundaries of the algorithmic solutions. And next is implications of non-recursive enumerable languages. Non-recursive enumerable languages suggest inherent limitations in what can be computed or solved algorithmically. They challenge our understanding of logic, mathematics, and computer science, particularly in the realm of the formal systems. This has significant implications for fields such as cryptography, artificial intelligence, and formal verification. They have different types of implications like the artificial intelligence, formal verification, and for the challenging of understanding the non-recursive enumerable languages is used to logic of mathematics and computer science. And you can see the research limitations of overview and examples. Research limitations refer to the potential weakness inherent in the study. All studies have limitations of some sorting, and the overing part is rarely is a study perfect. The researchers have to make trade-offs when developing their studies, which are often based upon practical consideration such as time and monitoring constraints, weighing breadth of participants against depth of insight, and choosing one methodology or another. And examples of research limitations are time constraints, resource intensiveness, risk of attrition, lack of generalizability, lack of depth and content. And next is ethical limitations, risk of survey error, researcher bias, participant bias. This is about the research limitations of non-regular enumerable languages, and also the implications to challenge or understanding this part. And next, practical consequence of the of non-recursively enumerable languages. The existence of a non-recursive enumerable language affects software verification and testing. It implies that certain properties of a program may be possible to a certain algorithmically. This leads to a focus on a heuristic methods rather than guaranteed solution in some cases. This is about the practical consequences of non-recursively enumerable languages. And the conclusion about the undecidability, a language that is not recursively enumerable. The study of undecidability and non-recursively enumerable languages reveals profound insights into computation. It emphasizes the boundaries of what algorithm can achieve and highlights the complexity of decision problems. By exploring these concepts, we gain a deeper appreciation for the theoretical underpinnings of computer science. This is about the conclusion of the undecidability recursively enumerable languages. Thank you for everyone.